I'm going to show you guys the funnel and the 4-part process on how to get an appointment, okay? So have I broken this down to you guys yet? No, right?
No.
Right, Tyler? Okay.
Mm-mm.
So every time you make a phone call, I break it down into 4 parts, okay? Number 1 is the intro. This is the wider section of the funnel because there is a number of things that can happen when you first pick up the phone, right? So, Tyler, give me an outcome when you first pick up the phone, when you first dial the phone, what can happen?
You mean like as I'm answering it, or
When you first pick up the phone and you dial a number,
Yeah.
what could potentially happen?
they could answer it?
They could answer, right?
Yes.
What else?
It could go to voicemail and then you leave a voicemail.
Voicemail?
Yes.
Okay. Are there any other outcomes?
Well, it could say the number is not in service.
Okay. So disconnect the number.
Yeah.
Okay.
Disconnect the number.
What else?
Potentially, it could be a business because when I made a phone call, the lady
Okay.
said it was an emergency center.
Okay. Wrong person.
Yes, wrong person.
Okay. Maybe a busy tone.
Yes.
Okay. Maybe the right person answers, but they can't talk right now,
Yeah.
right?
The person's spouse or girlfriend.
Okay. So, not the decision maker. Maybe
Possibly.
maybe it's not the person that's actually driving the car.
Yes.
Is there anything else? Are we leaving out anything else?
I think that's it for the most part.
Okay. So, out of all of these outcomes here, how many of them do we ideally want?
The right person to pick up the phone.
Okay, so right, out of all of these outcomes here, when you first pick up the phone, you're only looking for one.
Correct.
You want them to answer, okay? So that needs to be your mindset. When you first pick up the phone, what are you looking for?
An answer.
A connection with the right person. So if you don't have this, you can't do anything else. You're wasting time if you go further into the call. So, once you get the right person on the phone, Tyler, you go into number 2, and this is depending on their tone of voice and really what experience of kind of how many calls you've made, kind of what your background is. But this is rapport building or intent, sometimes both. Okay? So when you get the right person on the phone, they answered, right? You want to
Judge their tone.
you need to judge their tone of voice. So what I mean by that is if you get the right person on the phone and they sound jolly and cheerful, what you can do is go right into your intent, okay? And explain to them kind of what you got going on. But when somebody picks up the phone, can everybody tell when somebody sounds a little bit grumpy over the phone?
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Yeah.
You can tell, right? So that's where you need to do a little bit of rapport building, all right? You need to be able to judge this very quickly of is their tone of voice grumpy? Are their tone of voice pleasant? Are they open up? So you want to be able to judge their tone of voice and open them up to hear a offer, okay? So when you get down to this part of the call here, what are some things that can happen? What are some outcomes that can happen?
They could be in a good mood, and they could, be forward with what your intent is.
Right?
They could hang up the phone.
Right?
They could reject all of your rebuttals and say not interested. And this goes back to the first one, but the person could be in a good mood, but they're saying, "Oh, I don't own the car. This is my
Okay,
girlfriend's
right.
car."
Still not the decision maker. That can
Still.
happen.
Yeah.
Okay. What else?
It could disconnect.
Yep.
The phone call could disconnect.
Disconnect.
I said hang up too, right?
Yeah. Also, too, still be busy.
Still be busy, yes.
Right?
Yes.
You can get the right person on the phone. You kind of explain to them, hey, calling from our customer care center. Just want to reach out to you, still see if you had your 2015 Honda Civic. You can be in the intent stage and they can say, oh, okay, yeah, it's great. I don't have time right now. Can you call me back?
Schedule a call back.
And you schedule a call back, okay, what would be a better time for me to give you a call? Would tonight be better or would you prefer tomorrow? You want to give them two choices, and that goes to the either or questions that I'm going to train on with you guys as the days goes on, that you'll see everything that I do is kind of based on either or questions. And what that does is I want the two of you to write this down. Either or questions will force a response, and you'll be able to have more control of the phone call. So out of all these outcomes, Tyler, which one do we want?
We want the listen.
Right. So you want them to listen, and you need to get their permission, okay? And do you know what part of the script that goes from intent to permission to lead to the third part? So to be sure I'm not wasting your time, is it okay if I ask you a couple questions?
Couple questions.
All right. So that goes in to number 3, and that is qualify. Okay. So we got the right person on the phone. We introduced ourselves, right? Then we went into number 2. We either did a little bit of rapport building if they sounded a little bit grumpy, and then we went into the intent. We got them to open up, and we got their permission to ask them a few questions, okay? So between 2 and 3, what is your goal when you're in number 2, Tyler?
Rapport building, just try to get their attention and explain to them what the purpose of the call is. That'd be my best way to put it.
The goal is to get them to open up and get them to give you permission to ask them a couple questions. So that's what you need to be focused on when you're in that stage of the call, all right? So then you're at the qualifying stage, okay? What are some outcomes that can happen here?
For the qualifying stage?
Yes, this isn't a trick question, by the way.
They could change their mind instantly.
That shouldn't happen. That should not have happened. If you've done this right and you've done this right, they shouldn't be changing their mind this far into the call, okay? You want to get all that stuff out in this section here. This is where you should be getting the objections. All right, if you're getting the objections down here, it means you have a really good tone of voice, but you're not clarifying some key points to why you're making the call. It's either they qualify,
or they don't.
Exactly, or they don't. Okay, so in the calls that we're making now, if they're behind on their payments, then they don't qualify. Okay, I want you guys to write that down. If they are behind on their payments, they do not qualify. If their car is paid off, they qualify, bring them in. If they have made the payments on time, they qualify, bring them in.
What if they've made a late payment, but they...
If they've made a late payments, are they current on their payments? If they are, then bring them in, okay? So either they qualify or they don't. And if they qualify, you go into number 4, which is setting the appointment. Okay? So this is where you get the time, the date, and you ask a confirmation question. Do you have any other obligations or prior appointments that would prevent you from showing up tomorrow at 3:15 p.m.? Okay? You want to get them locked down to an exact time. How do we do this, Tyler?
You give them 3 times.
Yep. You can give them 2 times, you give them 3
3
times. You want to ask them either or questions throughout the whole phone call, okay? If you ask them either or questions from the moment they pick up all the way down here, your chances of getting down here will increase, okay? So just keep that in mind. When you're at the appointment stage, this is where you really want to get their attention and make sure they remember the phone call, all right? So you want to get them funneled down to a time, a date, ask them a confirmation question. You also want to text them while you are on the phone, okay? If they can't text, if you're talking on a home phone, which happens rarely, you can have them write it down on a piece of paper. You want to get them to take some sort of action while you're on the phone with them, okay? Why is that though?
So they'll actually go in and remember.
Right. The chances of them remembering the conversation will increase.
Is greater.
All right? If they have to literally do a different screen, a different thing on their phone, and hit a button to reply yes, that's one more action that's going to help them remember that they had a conversation with you. Especially if it's the first time that you're calling